All right, guys. Well, good morning. It is February 1st of 2022. We are already a month into 2022, so that's pretty crazy. But today we're going to be teaching on building the need. Building the need is a critical part of what we do. You know, we're showing them, why they need our products, why it's so important, and at the same time, why they need a proper backup plan. So guys, without the need, there is no sale. And without a sale, we don't get paid. So y'all can see why this is super important to be able to build a need with each and every person we sit down with, because that need is going to be different for everybody. Okay. So go ahead and get right into it. And CJ, I saw you're on. We're going to be role playing a little bit here. So if you guys want to take some notes, that'd probably be a good idea. Because, as Van says, we only retain like 10% or whatever that we actually hear. But if we write it down, we're not going to forget it as easily. So, like I said, getting right into it, starting to build that need is on the different types of indirect cost page. You want to spend a little bit of time on this because it really shows the client that there really are so many costs. All right. So CJ, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick it up from here. So CJ, there are a lot of different indirect costs, lost income and savings. That's definitely going to be an indirect cost, right? Because if you're not working, then CJ, you're not making any money. And if you're not making any money, you definitely are not saving money. And then we go down to living expenses, right? And these are things like you just mentioned in the previous slide, right? Housing costs, auto costs, right? You also have car insurance, you have utilities, you got to keep the lights on. Right. And you said you have a little 3-year-old. Yeah. I mean, he's probably going to be eating you out of house and home here pretty soon. Right. So there's a lot of food that's involved as well. Everybody's still got to eat, even though you're going through cancer. And then we're jumping down to insurance limitations. So I know you have insurance, which is great, but there are still limitations on that insurance. So copays, medications, deductibles, right? Those are just 3 of the 6 things. And those right there alone, those are enough to wipe some families out by itself. And last but not least, we're going down to the out-of-pocket expense. And this is like your travel. So like CJ, God forbid it was your little boy that was diagnosed with cancer. Would you want the local care here in Shelby, Ohio, or Shelby, North Carolina? Or would you want the best care in the entire country?
Definitely the best care in the entire country, for sure.
Right. And we know that best care is not in Shelby or it's not in Asheville. We're going to have to drive to those places or fly. Right. So, and then we got to worry about food when we're out there. You're definitely going to have to get a hotel because, visiting hours do end, unfortunately. So all these things, they add up to a lot of cost to you. Right. And when we're working, our income is above our expenses, or at least we hope. But if we're out of work, our income is going to go down and our expenses are going to go way up. Right. So now, CJ, when do you think most people, they find out about these 4 indirect costs?
Probably something happens.
Yeah, exactly. I like to say when it's too late. Because once you've been diagnosed with cancer, you do not qualify for coverage. And there are so many people that we talk to every day that don't qualify for one of the things that we offer, either cancer or heart disease or strokes. So it's always super important that, we get you taken care of before something happens. And then CJ, which one of these 4 indirect costs are going to affect you and your family the most?
Probably
I'm sorry, which one was that? I didn't hear you.
I would say probably the lost income.
Yeah, the lost income. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because if you don't have any income, it's a big trickle down effect, right? All the way down to the out-of-pocket expense, right? So now, CJ, there are several ways that people try and meet these indirect costs. That first way is their savings account, right? Their investments, their college funds, their retirement funds, right? But CJ, how long could you last on just your savings account? Three months. 3 months. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And you know what? That's what I get most of the time is 3 months, right? Some people, they can stretch it a little bit longer, right? And think about how hard and how long you saved to build up that 3 months, right? And then imagine losing all of it overnight. So after you go through your savings, you're going to take a look at some assets, right? Say you're battling this cancer for 6 months or a year, right? Then you're taking a look at some homes and property that you have, maybe some cars that you have. Maybe instead of 2 cars, now you have 1 car, right? And last but not least is the personal items, right? Those things you worked hard for, those things you deserve, you're going to have to give up and sell. That's just what we do. So the best choice in this situation is the supplemental coverage that we offer. Okay, it's the same thing we offer to, all the Walmarts around here, all the police departments, sheriff's offices, firefighters in your area. Okay, because and what it is we help protect your assets, we help protect your family. Most importantly, CJ, I know you said you're 20, 26 years old, right? I mean, you got a long ways to go. You got a big future ahead of you. We're going to help protect your future. If you get behind the 8 ball now, that's going to set you and your family back for years and years and years to go. Okay. So CJ, besides your savings account, what do you and your family have as a reliable backup plan to take care of all of these indirect costs today? And guys, while you're doing this, you want to be like shaking your head no basically, so like they're like, yeah, I don't have anything. So you're just shaking your head no as you're asking that question, and then you're waiting for them to answer. So CJ, I'll ask again. Besides your savings account, what do you and your family have as a reliable backup plan to take care of all of these indirect costs?
Honestly, nothing.
Nothing. You know what? And that's okay. That's exactly why we were invented, and that's exactly why I'm here today, is to show you a reliable backup plan. So CJ, it's called cancer care. And how that Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance works that you have is, they pay the doctors and they pay the hospitals to keep them in business. But what we do is we pay you to keep you and your family in business. Okay, so we directly deposit cash to your bank account. Like, for example, CJ, who do you bank with?
State employees.
State employees, yeah. So we would directly deposit money to that state employee's account. God forbid you were to go through anything, right? And this pays in addition to any other insurance you own, right? So I know you're saying that your wife, Jessica, she's got disability insurance through her job. That's totally okay. This is totally separate from it. And it pays on top of that. So there actually are a lot of clients that do have disability, but they really like us better because, if your son gets sick, your wife's disability is not going to cover for your son or for your wife to be out of work, or for you to be out of work to go be there with your son. So that's a little difference in us. But yeah, we pay in addition to it, and we provide coverage for you and your entire family under one plan. Okay. Now, CJ, a really unique thing that we have is a 25-year return of premium, which I will touch on later on. And guys, I say that after I do the provides coverage for you and your entire family, just because it kind of breaks it up a little bit. And it kind of gets them thinking, because you don't like go through the whole entire return of premium. You just kind of touch on it here, and that'll kind of like, tickle their brain a little bit, and keep them like way more interested because they really want to hear about that return of premium. So, but all throughout this, you are just building the need for what we have, because they're going to run out of their savings. Nobody wants to sell their stuff. And that is exactly how you would build the need up until that point, because after that, we get into the pictures, which you're just showing all your pictures of your clients that you have with them. And then definitely some of like the businesses that you have along with them. So You're just scrolling through all these, oh, who do you know on here? Who do you see that, who's your neighbor, anything like that. And then you're reading claims. So if you're reading a cancer policy and you're sitting down with a younger person, you're going to want to pull out the Sarah Blaylock claim. Right. So, and then you say, this was Sarah Blaylock, and she was actually right over in Albemarle County. And Sarah wrote, I've had my policy for a while now. When we purchased the policy, I never dreamed we would ever use it. I thought of it as a savings account. So it was a good idea all around. A couple years later, at 27, my husband woke to me having a seizure, which led to a brain tumor stage 4, then a brain surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, countless MRIs, CT scans, EKGs, etc., etc. Had it not been for our family heritage policy, we would have lost all we had worked for. So, guys, we paid Sarah $33,855.10. CJ, could you imagine what that money would do for you and your family? God forbid you were to go through something like that. You wake up to your wife having a seizure, and then to find out she's got a stage 4 brain tumor and brain cancer, but then getting $33,000, almost $34,000.
Oh, it'd be insane.
Yeah. Well, what would that money do for you and your family?
Just allow us to live,
Yeah, and you wouldn't even have to worry about financials. You could really focus on recovery. You wouldn't have to stress about that. And then another one I'll share with you, CJ. So this is Gordon Daniels, right? So we talked about traveling, right? Going to the best hospitals. So Gordon Daniels wrote, people who think that they have enough insurance should think again. I have great health insurance, but that didn't even begin to help me or cover all my bills. People don't realize how much money you spend on gas and food when you're traveling over 60 miles one way for chemo and radiation treatments. I haven't been able to work very much, and when I'm not working, obviously I'm not making any money. And we paid Mr. Daniels $47,943. Okay. And then CJ, the really unique thing is that this was not the only time we paid Gordon. This was just the first time, or Sarah. These are just the first time we paid these people, because as you continually go through treatments, which you will, we will continually pay you. Okay. So that is, as far as I have, or as far as I know, is what we do for building the need. I don't know if CJ, you have anything you want to throw in there or touch on that I might have missed, or if there's anything you do differently as far as claims or pictures that you show.
No, that's pretty much it. I do find out, whenever I sit down with somebody, kind of what else is on their radar as well too. Like, yeah, out of these 3, which one of these kind of concerns you the most? If they pick cancer, I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely. I'll definitely show you that one. The other 2 that work the exact same too is the heart disease or the accident one. Are those on your radar at all as well? And if they say yeah, I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm gonna show you the cancer one. We'll touch on the accident one briefly as well too, and I'll include a accident testimonial when I'm reading all my testimonials as well too, or a heart one as well, and just kind of round out every coverage just a little bit for people as well too. And I've got my go-to testimonials, but I'm always adding new ones as well too. So but yeah, guys, I mean, just being real with people when you're building the need is huge, and you do have to get real with people, and that's what really and truthfully makes a difference for a lot of different people.
Absolutely. What is like your go-to testimonial?
Gordon Daniels, for cancer, that's my go-to. And I'll flip back and forth depending on if I'm sitting down with, a single mom, or if I'm sitting down with a mom that has a family. I'll read the, geez, it just left my mind literally right now. I'll read the, Amanda King testimonial,
Okay.
and if I'm sitting down with a guy or, anything like that, I'll read the Richard Davis testimonial. the vehicle accident as well too. And I'll just read, go back and forth between those two, and then definitely the Debbie McGlone for the heart one. That's a great testimony for a heart one as well too. So
absolutely, yeah. And one thing I like to do when I'm showing pictures is, definitely if I've already sat down with some of their other coworkers, showing those pictures of them, like as soon as we get to the pictures, and then showing like bigger businesses that are above them and businesses that are on the same level as them. I'm never hitting on pictures that are businesses that are below them. Yep. So if I'm sitting with a lawyer, or if I'm at a doctor's office or whatever it may be, I'm not showing pictures of, or I'm not highlighting the pictures of like the Dollar General or the Dollar Tree or the Mighty Dollar, or Dollar Plus, whatever you want to call it. I'm not showing those types of pictures. And then you're really building your credibility when you show like businesses or businesses that are even above them, because everybody's kind of striving to want to do better with, as far as working with businesses that are above them. They want to be classified in that level, but unless you're working at Dollar General, you don't want to be classified as a Dollar General. So that's one thing I always try and hit, definitely with police officers and all them, because they're all connected. So if you can get one, you can get a lot more of them.
Yep.
So,
and I definitely when I'm showing pictures, I'm also using a lot of names, personal stories, that kind of thing. And I'll also go into my iPad and show them the names list of everybody in that county that has the coverage already as well too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So hey, do any of these names look familiar to you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and guys, it doesn't matter if you've been here for a day or a year or 2 years. You have a names list, and it's very simple to find. You just have to make sure that you have those names list ready to go before you get to the field, or unless you have a hot spot. But everybody has a names list, so you don't have to say you don't have any names to use, because they're all right there stored in your iPad.
Yeah. And I always, tell people, man, look how many names are in this county of people that already have this coverage. That's a ton of names right there.
Yep. And one thing I like to throw in there is, obviously, CJ, nobody buys this coverage because they want to use it. They buy it for the security of it, right? Nobody wants to have cancer, but you'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Exactly. And when do you typically get a flat tire?
When you don't have a spare in the back.
Exactly. And just be nodding your head.
Yep.
Hey, CJ.
So,
yes, sir.
Hey, I wanted to share one of the testimonials that I found the other day that I think would probably be applicable, especially for younger people. If you don't mind, I'm going to read it real quick.
Yeah.
It's by Jason Jordan. Now, he's out of Alma, Georgia, but this is what he wrote. We took this policy out in 2006. We never dropped it. We had paid on it for 14 years and just got a cancer diagnosis in November 2020. Even though we have health insurance, medical bills still come in. Thankfully, we had this policy to help pay them along the way. I would advise every young person to take advantage of purchasing a cancer policy. The younger you take it out, the cheaper it is.
Can't hear you, Greg.
I'm sorry, you there?
Yep.
Okay, he wrote, we took this policy out in 2006. We've never dropped it. We'd paid on it for 14 years, and just got a cancer diagnosis in November of 2020. Even though we have health insurance, medical bills still come in. Thankfully, we had this policy to help pay them along the way. I would advise every young person to take advantage of purchasing a cancer policy. The younger you take it out, the cheaper it will be. You never know when you will need it. Cancer knows no age, young or old. I would encourage everyone to be prepared because you never know what your future health will be.
Yeah.
So
That
Yeah,
is a
that's a good
great testimonial.
yeah, if you want, I'll email that or put that on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, if
Can't
you just
have
want to put that
more
on
in the
content, that'd be
arsenal.
big.
Cool.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
So, I mean, does anybody have any questions as far as building the need goes?
Actually, if you can hear me, I had a situation like that this morning with a client that I met yesterday. He's a mutual friend of mine. I had lunch with him yesterday and went over everything, and he was going to speak with his wife. And he replied back to me this morning and said, I'm just not sold that we need it. Honestly, insurance is there to fill the gap for me personally. He couldn't find an actual reason I needed it. I was looking through the list of the covered items, and quite literally over the past 18 years, none of them would actually apply to me. Stress fractured my arm when I was 7. That would have paid me $400. And so my rebuttal to him was, well, in my opinion, the number one factor when it comes to all of these things is age. Cole, last time I checked, you wasn't getting any younger, buddy. And you'd obviously rather have the extra coverage and not need it than to need it and not have it. He hasn't replied back yet, but that was his rebuttal to me showing him everything.
Yeah. And one thing that I would do, circling back around to that is, hey man, when we sat down and I asked you, God forbid, man, you're out of work for, let's say, 6 weeks to 6 months because of a bad accident or injury, how would that affect you financially? And, you said it hit you pretty hard, right? So this right here provides you a proper backup plan versus going to be in the next GoFundMe page on Facebook.
Right. Yeah.
But
Yep. And guys, I would say a couple things, just reiterating what CJ and Jim were talking about. If you guys watch CJ out in the field, you'll realize there's a couple of nonverbals that he does that the reason why he has such a high closing percentage, and Jim does it as well. They nod their head yes. Like, it's a simple thing that we can all do, but just looking your client in the eye and nodding your head yes and being assumptive. And another thing is called passion when you're selling, not speaking, just going through the motions of a sales talk, because we all have the same words. But I promise you, if you see an average producer and then look at their passion when they sell, and then go watch Jim or CJ and watch their passion, you can feel the difference. You can feel the difference in energy level. So check your energy level. Record yourself when you speak, and you'll hear, man, I sound boring whenever I speak to people. You got to have passion to people, guys. Your enthusiasm is their enthusiasm when you speak. So the words is one thing, but that's not everything. The passion that you speak to people is monumental, and that's something that you personally control yourself. And CJ and Jim have done a great job with upping their energy, since they've been here. And, the very first day they were here, it wasn't as what it is right now. So they've been able to increase their intensity and energy level when speaking to clients. Their conviction grows, and obviously the words get better with practice and whatnot. But there's a lot of other nonverbals that go into building the need of just assumptiveness, head nodding, and just that's what this is for. Every question you ask and they say, yeah, I don't have a backup plan. Well, that's good, because that's why I'm here. That's exactly what this is for. You probably should say that same probably 10 times in your demo. That's why it's in the sales talk a lot. Just that assumptiveness is powerful. So great job, CJ, Jim. This is crucial information.
Yeah. Well, guys, it's Tuesday. It's February 1st. Today is the day to implement what we just went over. If you're in a slump, if you're getting a lot of procrastination, you really got to build that need. And I hope you took a lot of notes, because this is exactly how you make it real for people, and you make them understand that they need a backup plan. That, like CJ said, you don't want to be the next GoFundMe page. You don't want to have the spaghetti pots or whatever it may be to raise money for you. Our company has a ton of money, and we're going to pay you a ton of money. So go out there, be a blessing for somebody else. Everybody needs your smile today. So everybody have a good day. And let's kick this week off strong, guys. Have a good one.
As always, thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.